passengers in the boat became panicky. The boat is going to capsize at any time. Then this helmsman, looking at this sheer omniscience present before him, tells him, "Sir, do you know how to swim?" So, "No, sir, whole life is gone." So this is an extraordinary story which tells us that mere knowledge which does not help us to swim across the currents and cross currents of life and to negotiate the difficulties which will naturally come to everybody as long as he or she is alive, that kind of knowledge is absolutely useless. The educational system which we have inherited, unfortunately, from the British, from which we are struggling to come out even now, gives us that knowledge, gives us degrees. But these degrees are absolutely useless as long as you have not learned the art of swimming through life. It was Lord Macaulay who pronounced in 1835, all of us know, that we should give these Indians such an education by which they will appear to be Indians from outside, but inwardly they will be absolutely and thoroughly anglicized, and they will serve the cause of the British Empire. Even now, the then British capital, Calcutta, has the secretariat named Writers' Buildings. They were preparing writers and clerks to serve the cause of the British India. Macaulay almost successfully did it. Interestingly, just a year later, 1836, Sri Ramakrishna was born in an unknown village in Bengal, absolutely and totally rejected the Macaulay brand of education and picked up some of his brightest young men as disciples who were educated the Macaulay way. The chiefmost among them, as you know, is Swami Vivekananda. The kind of education which we have inherited from the British, which will make you have plenty of knowledge and information, but which is not integrated with your life and action, that has completely taken away our self-respect and the capacity to be able to originally think and integrate with the masses around us. The kind of integral education which Swami Vivekananda and some of the stalwarts in India, Rabindranath Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi, all of them spoke about, is that which actually enables you to live a life in which the principles which you have learned through education have been internalized and actualized in daily life and action. We have become mechanized, and this IT, information technology, has been a great boon to us, unfortunately reducing a human being into a mere robot. I will tell you another story from one of the books, recent books by Roger Penrose. Roger Penrose is a living mathematician and a physicist. He's written plenty of books. The first book he wrote was Emperor's New Mind. You know the story of the Emperor's New Clothes. A king was parading without clothes and nobody dared to tell him. Everybody said, "Ah, you are so wonderful." A small boy gets up and says the king is not wearing any clothes. So as a parody to this, he wrote a book, Emperor's New Mind. That was a challenge to artificial intelligence. They call it AI, and there's a weak AI and a strong AI. And the protagonists of the artificial intelligence claim that a machine can exactly do all the jobs which the human brain is capable of doing, and soon a time will come, we will completely replace the human mind itself through artificial intelligence. Wait, give us some time. A couple of years more, a couple of decades more, and we will see that the artificial intelligence takes over the human intelligence. As a parody to this, as a challenge to this, he wrote this book and begins it with a very interesting story. The story is a super computer is being inaugurated in the United States, and the president and all the technocrats are present there. The inventor of this computer, with great pride, tells everybody, now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to inaugurate a supercomputer which can answer any question within nanoseconds and microseconds. I will have a new way of inaugurating it. Which one of you in the audience will put the first question in order to inaugurate this computer? Nobody rose. Who will display his stupidity before a super omniscience? A small boy, innocent boy, got up. That is the beauty of children. They tell out the truth very innocently and openly. A boy got up and said, sir, I will put the first question. Everybody said, after all, he is a boy. He doesn't mind displaying his stupidity. Come on, tell me, kid, what is the question you are putting to the computer? He asked the computer, you please tell me, how does it feel to be a computer? The gadgets went round and there's a flash of light and it calculated for an hour and said, I do not know. There's a big uproar everywhere. A computer, a supercomputer which can do everything in a trice, does not know how it feels to be a computer. This is a very remarkable lesson we have to learn, that to be good human beings is much more important to be great knowledgeable beings. Albert Einstein makes a very stinging remark, a reflection of what Vivekananda said years ago. Albert Einstein said, we don't need to teach any speciality in school. Stuff them with all kinds of things. Teach them how to live the life in a balanced way. Appreciation of values, appreciation of beauty in nature, having a compassionate heart, learning from nature and learning to live happily, harmoniously with your fellow beings. These are values which need to be taught in school, and knowledge learned in school will flourish and flower only if a person grows up as a good human being. What is the greatest dearth in our country? We have so many resources, we have so much of technology, and the great awakening is taking place in the country for everybody to see. But what we do lack is men and women of impeccable character who cannot be lured by greed and the flesh. There's a great dearth of people who can stand up and say, we are human beings and we shall not stoop so low. I have a dignity of my own, and there's a spark of divinity within me which I'm trying to manifest. This is a great dearth. And therefore, Einstein said, if we can train these young boys and girls in schools to be very clever people and to have plenty of knowledge, we are having trained animals like in circus, but we would have failed to create integral, total human beings. This is the message which Vivekananda and others told us. You have yoga is a total integral education. The exercises which we perform in yoga is only a very small part of yoga. As you know, the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras talk about the Ashtanga Yoga, beginning with Yama and Niyama, which are ethical and moral values. Ethical and moral values are so fundamental to human life that leaving them alone, all your exercise will simply vanish into nothingness. Therefore, the ancient rishis and munis based ethical and moral values. Buddha spoke about it, Christ spoke about it, Muhammad spoke about it. All the religions talk about ethical and moral life. That is the basis. Unfortunately, it appears the Ashtanga Yoga is getting reduced to Shashtanga Yoga. You begin with asana straight away. Yama, Niyama, then only asana comes in the Patanjali's hierarchy. So Swami Vivekananda's idea was this yoga should be taught to people so that they become complete, integral, harmoniously developed personalities. The means for that, he said, is very simple. It's very psychological as well as philosophical. There's nothing philosophic, nothing metaphysical, nothing mysterious about yoga. We have mystified yoga a little too much, perhaps, And some people have monopolized this yoga. Now it is coming out in a big way to transform people's lives. Not only the physical health, but the health of a human being in a complete and holistic way. Swami Vivekananda therefore said, there are 4 fundamental faculties in a human being. The most fundamental faculty which every one of us has is the feeling. You may not be educated in the conventional way. You may not have degrees. But every one of us has a feeling of love, feeling of unitedness. And the basis of all yoga is to unite, is to connect. Now the cell phones and the mobile phones and the internet everywhere is an example of how everybody wants to be connected, interconnected. What is the basic urge in a human heart was a question asked by psychologists and philosophers over the years. Freud said something, Adler said something else, Frankl said something else, and so on. But the most fundamental human urge is to be interconnected, is to live in society so that you are connected with everybody else. If you don't have the mobile phone in your pocket for half a minute, you feel so restless. Not that you use it all the time, but because you have a feeling of being interconnected with the entire universe. Duniya muthi mein. So you have the entire universe with you. The interconnectedness is a part of yoga. The moment you come out of this, the moment you feel disconnected, you feel uneasy, which is called dukkha. So the Bhagavad Gita says, in a sense, yoga is viyoga, union is disunion. Tam vidya dukkha sanyogam, viyogam yoga samgitam. The Bhagavad Gita says, dukkha sanyoga, viyoga is yoga. So you are disconnected from dukkha, and dukkha comes to you because you don't feel connected. The feeling of connectedness which everybody feels in his heart, that is the most fundamental feeling of love which connects, that everybody has. And this training by which this faculty of love is channeled and purified is called bhakti yoga. There are some people who are extremely analytical, great thinkers. They think about everything, what's called vichara. They think about it, they philosophize, and deeply go into problems. These are the people who are trained as jnana yogins. The third category of people who are extremely active. They want to do good to people. They go around, the good Samaritans, and then who feel intensely for others' misery. They do action. These acting people, active people, are called karma yogins. The fourth category is a set of people who are meditative. They don't like crowds. They don't want to mix with people. They calmly sit and meditate and discover great truths from the depths of their consciousness. They are the meditative people who are dhyana yogis or raja yogis. Swami Vivekananda's idea was that each one of this yoga has its own difficulty, has its own advantages and disadvantages. What are they? A jnana yogi, a person of great thought, may become so dry, he doesn't feel for others. A bhakti yogi who has great feeling for others may end up being extremely sentimental and emotional. He doesn't bestow deep thought on anything. So a combination of these two is required. And a jnani and a bhakta, they may have great visions and great feeling, tremendous plans, but when it comes to executing them at the ground level, these people may be total failures. So what you need is to combine karma yoga with that, unselfish work for the sake of others. And even that is not sufficient. A jnani and a bhakta and a karma yogi, all of them need to calm their minds. Prashanta manasam henam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. The great verse in the Bhagavad Gita, prashanti, calming yourself, your limbs, your body, your mind, calm demeanor. Calmness is absolutely required. The placidity of the mind, the tranquility of the mind is a jnana yogi. So Swami Vivekananda therefore said, I'll just end up with a couple of slides. just a couple of slides. So I will not go into the philosophical depth. I just wanted to give a glimpse of how much our ancient has thought about the human personality. This is the Pancha Kosha, it is called 5 selves, the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and the Anandamaya, the 5 dimensions of a human personality, and each one of them should be completely and fully developed. Vivekananda's idea was there should not be any deficiency in the development of any of them. And the Tantra, Yoga, Tantra, and Vedanta, all of them are disciplines which developed together, and the present approach, as Vivekananda said, should be an integral approach to all this. The Shat Chakras, I will not go into the details. And the Vedanta talks about 3 avasthas, the waking, dream, and deep sleep. And Yoga Vedanta talks about A-U-M, Om, A standing for the waking state, U for the dream state, and M for the deep sleep state. All together takes you to a transcendental state which is called Turiya. And then the Veda talks about Sapta Lokas. And this is the Tantra, Vedanta, Tantra, Veda paradigm which have integrated. And the harmony of religions, which Vivekananda talked about, the wonderful harmonious blend of jnana, bhakti, and karma, with yoga interpenetrating and enveloping the whole thing as intensity of longing and aspiration. We refer here to the beautiful artistic emblem which Swami Vivekananda himself designed for the Ramakrishna mission. How to practice this in a daily life? Just one word about it. There's a practical hint from a book by Swami Gyaneshwarananda on Yoga for Beginners. This is a wonderful book. Those of you can get a copy of this. Yoga for Beginners, in which he discusses all these 4 yogas in detail and gives you practical hints of how to practice them in daily life. Begin the day with Raja Yoga. Prayer, meditation will give you an undercurrent of poise and peace, like the ringing or lingering sound of a bell. When you ring a bell, it lingers for a long time. This meditation and the peace that you get through calmness will take you the whole day. Be a bhakti yoga in your contact with others. See God in everything and worship to Him. Offer worship to Him. In the field of action, be a karma yogi. Work for the sake of work, that your work be your worship. Last but not least, that your life be balanced and controlled by the intellect. Knowledge of fundamental principles gives you the latitude and the power of adjustment. Swami Vivekananda designed this beautiful emblem in which he said the lotus represents bhakti, the wavy waters represents karma, the rising sun represents jnana, and the enveloping serpent, which is the Kundalini Shakti, represents yoga. And the meaning of the picture is, by a combination of jnana, bhakti, karma, and yoga, the vision of the Paramatman, represented with the swan in the picture, is attained. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
सभा में उपस्थित एक प्रत्येक की ओर से परम पूजनीय स्वामी आत्मप्रिय नंद जी, मैं आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद करती हूँ कि आपने अपने अत्यंत प्रेरणादायक शब्दों के माध्यम से हम सभी को अनुग्रहित किया। जैसा कि स्वामी जी ने कहा, सच्चा ज्ञान वो है जो हमारी मानसिक शक्तियों के साथ साथ भावनात्मक आध्यात्मिक शक्तियों का भी विकास करे और जीवन में संतुलन लेकर आए। इसलिए ये कहना तनिक भी अतिशयोक्तिपूर्ण नहीं होगा कि योग हमारे जीवन के हर भाग में है, चाहे वह हमारा कार्यस्थल हो अथवा क्रीड़ा क्षेत्र। योग हमारे जीवन के प्रत्येक आयाम में और यहाँ तक कि नृत्य में किस तरह उसकी श्वास प्रतिश्वास में बहता है, इसका सदृश उदाहरण लेकर प्रस्तुत हैं राष्ट्रीय बाल भवन के छात्र छात्राएं।
हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखम् तत्त्वं पूषन्नापावृणु सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये असतो मा सद्गमय 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 तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय 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 मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय अमृतं गमय अमृतं गमय ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् येन कर्माणि पशु मनीषिणो यज्ञे कृण्वन्ति विधयेषु धीराः यत्पूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानां तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु ॐ स नः पितेव सूनवेत्नि सुपायनो भव स च स्वानः स्वस्तये ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णोत्पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः
Thanks, children, for an electrifying performance. Our ancient education system talks about three types of strengths available to human beings: Bahubalam, Buddhibalam, Yogabalam, or Atmabalam. Education should aim at a parallel development of all these three strengths. With this in mind, the National Council for Teacher Education has made yoga education a compulsory area of study in all the 18,000 plus teacher education institutions and has come out with 3 yoga education modules for B.Ed, M.Ed, and Diploma in Elementary Education. I request Professor Santosh Pandaji, Chairperson NCT, Sri Jugal Singh, Professor B.S. Dagar, Professor Nagendra, and Atma Priyananda ji is already there. Request Honorable Minister of Human Resource Development, Government of India, Srimati Smriti Irani ji, to release these books.